All right, we're giving it another try here. Let's see if we can get this to go. Um, okay, how about now? Up. Okay. That looks like it's working. And by the way, there's some guy. There is some guy right now who is outside with a major power tool. So I would just really like to thank him for that. Hang on just one second here. Let me check something in my preferences. It looks like we're getting some stuff now. So hold on just a minute, folks, while I solve a quick issue here with my. Okay, source camera, mic, window, comments and reactions. I wish I could silence. Okay, well, I'll silence that. That's how I'll do that. All right, so you can't hear the power tool? Oh, good. You know what? I'll tell you what. This is going to be so much fun, and I hope it's not going to be a complete bust for you, because I have so much fun reading the comments while I'm trying to sing a song, and I can't tell you how hard it is. I don't have anybody to help me do this, and to like go through comments and things like that. So I just kind of have to do it on my own, and it's part of the fun of trying to manage this. Oh, good. Okay, we got people checking in from all over Atlanta, Temescal Valley, St. Louis. Oh, wow. Hi. Oh, hi. Bob Lapine. Bob Lapine from Family Radio Network. Wally Grant, Kenny Kinzer. Oh, man, I got lots of friends. If I start naming friends, it's just going to be a friend naming festival. All right. When I first posted this thing, and I did this late last night, I thought, I'm not working tonight. I want to do something. I want to sing somewhere. And I thought, well, I'll just sing right here at home for all of you. So the first request that I got was for Come and See, so that's what I'll do. Oh yeah. Oh, I just got a message from my daughter saying, "You better name your daughter." Hi, Kate. Stay tuned, I might just sing your song. Come and see, come and see, come and see a man from heaven. Come and see, hear him speak. He has seen the face of God. Come and see, come and see this Jesus of Nazareth. Come and see the one that we have heard of all our lives. A voice crying in the wilderness, a voice from the sky loud and clear, a still small voice deep inside, and a voice still ringing in my ear, saying, follow me, and I will show you my Father. Follow me, and you will see the heavens opened wide. Come and see, come and see, come and see this man from heaven. Oh, could it be? Could it be? We will see the face of God. Oh, could it be? Oh, could it be? We will see the face of God. All right, come and see. And as it turns out, I noticed on my feed, my longtime friend Mick Aguilar, who co-wrote that song with me, is on tonight. I'm not every day close to Mick these days, but he's been my friend forever and a day, and whenever we're in the same room together, it's pretty instantaneous. We'll pick up right where we left off, break burritos together. And oh so long ago, when we were both young and somewhat slimmer men, we were tasked with writing Come and See as a homework assignment. And every time I sing that song, I can't help but think of him and think of the blessing that it is to be a part of a song like that. So is that the Chris Maxwell? Hello, Chris. How you doing? Chris has a book forthcoming that I'm going to write a little blurb for here in the next few days. So that's really fun to see you in the feed tonight. Oh my goodness, Scott Wesley Brown! Oh my goodness, my friend, my pal, one of the killer bees now. All right, I'm sorry, I can't help it. I got to say hi to some of these folks. Burt Midyet, we're making plans for me to come to Tryon, North Carolina. That's going to be pretty fun. Coming up in the fall. All right, let's try to get to some more music here. You know, it is it's this year, later this year, it's the 40th anniversary since First Things First came out. And although it seems a little surreal for me to say that something that I did is 40 years old, I mean, I'm an old man now, and that's the way this works. I'd rather say that than not. And so it's just so cool. And a couple weekends ago, this won't mean too much to you if you're not a SoCal person, but I hope it will be of interest anyway. A couple weekends ago, I gathered with some folks in Brea, California at a private home. Now, back in the day when I was coming up, one of the greatest radio stations in the area was KNX-FM. And back when DJs and on-air personalities still kind of ran radio, it wasn't algorithms and computers, it was like real humans with music knowledge. They played some of the greatest stuff. They'd play deep cuts, deep cut Steely Dan stuff and all these, singer-songwriters and all this great music. In fact, I first heard David Wilcox on KNX-FM and pulled over to a phone booth and called him. Well, when First Things First came out, the story that I heard is my pal Dave Spiker drove a copy of my album up to KNX-FM, and I think that he interfaced with a guy who was the program director or music director at that time, Dave Hall. Dave Hall later went on to be Robert David Hall, who is an actor who played the part of the coroner in CSI, the main CSI series. So whoever, I think it was Dave, not sure who, but somebody decided to add this next song to KNX-FM. So here I am, I'm driving down the street in my car listening to my favorite radio station, and my song comes on the radio. I tried not to drive off the road. I apparently was successful in that effort. Oh, wow. What I love is a lot of people are greeting each other on my timeline. Rod Percy is saying hi to Wally Grant. Kevin Stevenson is saying hello. People are recognizing and name-checking Dave Hall. I love it. I wish I could just text with you and not but I'm kind of working. So, anyway. Somewhere a child is crying himself to sleep, as I pray the Lord my soul to keep, and as my last amen slowly fades away, the night shift takes over for the dying day. A short order facial reflection leers back from a spot on the grill, and the only sound that makes sense anymore is the jingle of change in the till. Coffee and conversation, still the tune doesn't feel quite right. Like an ongoing curse, things will be getting worse ever since he started working the night. A lady paints her eyelids up golden, 'cause they reflect the neon moonlight. And she waits for the man of her dreams to dance across the floor tonight. She swears there's no commitment, but you know that she's looking for one. But she settles for less, 'cause she figures it's best to do it in the name of fun. She does it in the name of fun. La 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 la. The soon-to-be famous musician cranks out top 40 tunes in the bar, while his mind is somewhere on vacation, far away from his voice and guitar. Seeking a cheap imitation, Valentino tries vainly to score, but it's 45 on and 15 off. There's just got to be something more. He says to himself, is there really something more? Can anybody tell me? Can anybody tell me what I am living for? La 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 la. All right. About 41 years after I wrote it, and 40 years after I recorded it, and 40 years after KNX-FM played it. By the way, if you know what I'm talking about or are interested in that, KNX-FM now has an online iteration that is really wonderful. And actually, some of the same people that were behind the original station are either officially pitching in on staff or sort of drawing alongside and giving their support and their cheering to what's going on. I was able to meet some of these folks a couple weekends ago when I was out. So if you like that kind of music, I can tell you that was back when that was kind of my only option. That was all that was on in my car. Anytime I got in a car, that was it. It was either that or the news station back then. KNX had a radio station on the AM dial that was news, and an FM station that was KNX FM that was just fabulous. All right. First of all, somebody asked me when I get to Nashville. The answer is once a year now, apparently. For the fourth year in a row, I will be coming back to Franklin next spring. My friend Paul Aldrich hosts a concert series, and if you live in and around the greater Nashville area, or as we lovingly call it, Nash Vegas, if you live around there, you should definitely look up here on Facebook, Google everything. On Facebook or in Google, search for Paul Aldrich and Friends, Aldrich, Paul Aldrich and Friends. He has an incredible lineup of artists throughout the year. He is the ringleader and benevolent host of it all, and is funny and wonderful and great, and assembles a sort of an in the round with everybody. The last one I did was with Matthew Ward. Before that, it was Wayne Watson. Before that, it was my pals Bruce Carroll and Scott Wesley Brown. He just hosted one that I'm so sorry I missed. He was hosting Andy Gullahorn and Gary Chapman. Oh my gosh, what an evening that must have been. And my pal Wally FaceTimed me. I was shopping in a Walmart. Yeah, I shop in a Walmart. And I picked up my phone, and Andy and Gary were on my FaceTime, giving me greetings from the green room there in Franklin at Generations Church. Anyway, all right. Oh, Bob Lapine is asking, no KYMS. Actually, I owe great debt to KYMS, and of course, as Bob knows, because he's baiting me here. But what it is and actually one of the movers and shakers, Dale Temple. No, not Dale Temple. Oh gosh, I'm spacing on his name now. I just name checked an old pastor of mine, and I'm spacing on his name. Doggone it, someone will give it to me. One of the guys who was at KYMS years and years ago is one of the main movers and shakers now at KNX-FM, and I'm having a senior moment and I can't remember his name right now. I'll think of it in a minute. Is that Jim Fletcher, as in played bass behind me a lifetime ago, Jim Fletcher? Boy, I hope so. That's pretty cool. Well, you know what? I will do that. I just got a, I know I've had some requests rolling. I've had some requests rolling by here, and I'm missing more than I'm getting. Oh, somebody is texting me that they saw me a long time ago at Knott's Berry Farm. That was one of the most memorable gigs of my life, and almost 35, 40 years later, I'm still talking about that gig. On the grounds of Knott's Berry Farm, there was, it's not there anymore, but there was a church building called the Church of Reflections. So while all the chaos of a Christian music night was going on around there, they booked me inside the church. Well, everybody came in and instinctively sort of like paid attention because like, we're in church. And it was so cool that I didn't take any breaks. I played for like 4 hours straight, and people just, you know, the set would be like an hour and people just drifted in and out, and I played for like 4 hours straight. Back when I could do such a thing. Santos! How you doing, my friend? Oh, so good to see you here. Okay, I will get to Man of the Tombs here eventually, for those a couple of people have asked. Okay, I did get a request for Mountain Cathedrals, so let me see if I can do this here. I've sung in mountain cathedrals with steeples rising high and altars made of evergreen and windows made of sky and windows made of of sky. I've dreamed of stars in the heavens and starfish in the sea, and wondered how the heart of God could care so much for me, could care so much for me. I've never been a strong man, at least outside the skin, and I'm eager and afraid at the same time to move from where I've been, to move from where I've been. I've sung in mountains and cathedrals, with steeples rising high, and altars made of evergreen, windows made of sky, and windows made of sky. Right. Thank you very much. Mountain Cathedrals. Boy, I had so many. Dave Spiker. Hi, Dave. So many people came by. I had David Vaughn, who is pretty much responsible for telling me what little microphone to buy. So if this can be heard with anything approaching fidelity, it's because David invited me to his home and said, here's what you do. And I'm so low tech and so bad at this. But I'm getting some comments that it sounds pretty good. So that's great. And thank you kindly for that. Okay, so let me do a little tuning here. Oh, you need to know, too, that there is a delay between when I'm seeing the credits and when you're putting them in. I don't know if it's 10, 15, 20 seconds. Oh, Katie Reichert, how you doing? I miss you guys. We'll have to do something sometime. I would love to do it. I've played many times in their home when they lived in Southern California, and I think they just moved to Arizona. Oh, one of my favorite questions to answer just came up. Someone asked me about my guitar. I am just as happy as I can be to tell you what kind of guitar I play. One of my best friends in this world is a guy named Kevin Ryan. And in the world of steel string guitar makers, luthiers, he is really, like if there was a Mount Rushmore of guitar makers, he would be on it. He is just an incredible man and an incredibly talented craftsman. And so I play, you can't see it because of the cape on the headstock and where it's at in the frame. But if you look very close, that's a stylized R, and I'm playing a Ryan guitar. Now, where you find Kevin online, for you guitar geeks who are listening, you go to ryanguitarsplural.com, ryanguitars.com. There are lots of wonderful guitars being made out there. Kevin himself has told me that this is one of the best times in human history to be both a guitar maker and a guitar player, because there's just so many good instruments out there. But I am as fortunate as a man can be to play a Kevin Ryan guitar and to be friends with the man himself. So if you're interested in his guitars, ryanguitars.com. Oh, Maria Kuntz, hi. We're alumni from All Saints Church. And my friend Lori Lewis. Luther Vaughn has checked in, which means that Ted and Alicia can't be far behind. John Weber, hi, buddy. My friend from Sacramento. Man, I'm telling you, I wish I could have all these people together in one room with lots of snacks. There would be no need for music if we could do that. Oh, and I wanted to give a shout out. Bob Sauer is also here. A friend from many, many years, played my music when he was doing radio. Now, if you go to Audible and put in Bob Sauer, Bob S-O-U-E-R, Bob Sauer, he's one of those guys who's read like a gazillion audiobooks. He could read, a Superman comic, and it would sound like high literature. And I mean no disrespect to Superman comics, but you know what I mean. He's got one of those voices where he classes the whole joint up whenever he opens his mouth. It's pretty great. Oh, my old buddy Steve Baumgartner is on. Alan Roweth is here as well. Alan, he has been a force of nature in the world of folk music and singer-songwriters about as long as I've been doing this. And he's one of those guys that's just incredibly generous in his heart and with his time and enthusiasm. And if everybody felt about me like Alan Roweth felt, I'd be living closer to the beach in a big, big, big house. But someone was asking about upstate New York. I don't have anything planned right now. I should explain, if you don't mind, and forgive me if you think I'm talking too much. You can ask for your money back. But I don't have a regular touring season where I get in a bus and go out, and then I can say to you, yeah, we're going to be in upstate New York in the fall. We've got it on the itinerary. I'm more of a weekend warrior kind of guy. So I have a tendency to want to fly out on a Thursday, play Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night, fly home Monday. That's my dream weekend. And so I don't just happen to be places. I have to have invites. Now, once I get an invite on the calendar, for instance, I'm headed to North Carolina in the fall, and I'll be seeking to fill in some dates around that. So once somebody, says, we'll bring you to the area and we'll have you sing, then I'm on the hunt to try to fill in the dates surrounding that. If I get enough to do, sometimes I will stay. Actually, I'll fly in on one Thursday and then stay 2 weekends and fly home. Anyway, I'm getting way too technical here, but... Oh, wow, that's really cool. A person is checking in and saying that they had a homeschool in 1994 that they named Bright Avenue Homeschool after my song. Isn't that great? Well, I'm very happy that such a sacred task, giving homeschooling to kids, that the title came out of such a hard album to make and hard experience to have. So I'm always happy that there's a little bit of redemption in that. Okay. Bugs, I see that message, and I will I'll get back to you on that. Oh, you know what? Okay, wait a minute. My daughter says she's only got a couple minutes here, and she's got to get out because she's not going to hang out with a bunch of people online or watch her dad. She can do that anytime. So I'm going to play the song that I wrote my daughter. Alrighty, hang on just one second. Let me call this up here. I want to make sure I do it right with all these. With all of these comments, I'm actually kind of throwing some lyrics up here just in case, because I'm having so much fun that sometimes I just lose my place. So I kind of throw some lyrics up on the big iMac screen. So sometime last September, I don't have the date in front of me, but I woke up in the middle of the night, as I often do. I'm a middle-aged man, come on. But in this case, I woke up and I wrote a song lyric in about 20 minutes, and then I just went back to sleep. And almost everything you're going to hear in this song was in that lyric at like 3 in the morning. And then I polished it a little bit and put some words to it, put some music to it. And I came up with this little song. And what I tell audiences, it's such a sweet thing. On Kate's birthday this last year, I texted her a little goofy iPhone demo of the song and the lyrics, and she texted me and said, "I'm crying in a restaurant right now." And I said, yes, mission accomplished. So my daughter, I've always said about my kids, and I know you probably feel this way about yours too, but they're the kind of people that I would like to be around even if they weren't mine. Loving your kids, that's kind of innate. I mean, you have to try real hard to not do that very well. So I love my kids, but liking somebody, even if they're your kids, I think is optional. And the fact of the matter is, in addition to loving my kids with every fiber of my being, I like them so much. And so this is a little song that I wrote for Kate, and I will embarrass her, and then she can go out for a fun night. I'm an old man, well past my prime. It's clear that I can never outrun time. But sometimes I worry, too little or too late. Do you know I adore you, little Kate? Little Kate, little Kate. Your 2 older brothers, my 2 beloved sons. I thought I knew well what needed to be done, but you came along so I could see God's perfect way of surprising me. With little Kate, little Kate, little Kate. You think and you feel so deep down inside, and guard the heart you sometimes hide. But I've seen glimpses of your shining sun, little Kate, little Kate, little Kate, blessed one. You were just a young thing when I bought that bouquet, and I told you, little Kate, to remember that day. For many would follow with lines well rehearsed, flowers in their hands, but I was the first. Little Kate, little Kate, little Kate, little Kate. An ocean of tears can never drown the love across these years. I love who you are and who you may yet be. I hope you don't mind if sometimes I still see little Kate, little Kate, little Kate, little Kate, little Kate. That's my daughter, little Kate. Got a couple things that I might have lost lost lyrics. Yeah, I hesitated a second. I'm trying to thread the needle between kind of getting into it and not reading it off the page, and sometimes that goes better than others. So that's right. Everybody say bye-bye to little Kate. Oh, I love, embarrassing your children is one of the sublime pleasures of life. Someone's asking about Kelly Willard. I keep up occasionally. She shows up on my Facebook feed, and I did a concert with her and Michelle Pillar coming up on 2 years now this fall. I love that woman. I will always love her. Everybody remembers when they first heard Kelly Willard sing. It was like, oh my gosh, who is that? And who she is my old friend and my dear friend. Well, I've had so many requests, it's so hard to figure out what to do. So forgive me. And I know I'm going to get oh my goodness, Jack is online. You know who you are. I will always, if it's the guy, I will always be grateful to you. You do know that, don't you? I will always, kept me from jumping off a tall building and loved on me when there was not very much good to love for a long stretch of time. So, Jack, it's a pleasure to see you, my friend. To see your name roll by here. Oh, you know what? Somebody asked for this, and I will be happy to do it. I'm kind of, as you can see, I'm having an interesting time multitasking. Oh my goodness, Kelly is on. Hi, little. I used to do Kelly. Okay, my friend Dan Ruppel of Isaac Airfred. I've been friends with Dan. He started doing Ed Sullivan, did a really good Ed Sullivan, and I tried to do an Ed Sullivan. And the way you do Ed Sullivan, by the way, is you just get a little bit of on top of your tongue, and you hold it right there, and you go, higher, really, really big shoe, right here on our stage. And I used to go, right now, little Kelly Willard. And 40 years ago, that was funny. I don't know if it's funny now. No one, unless you're a Beatles fan, you may not even know who Ed Sullivan is. But, oh, you know what? I will do that. I'm going to pivot to this. Someone just gave me a good idea. I know. Someone said that dates you a little bit, Bob. Yes, I know. I've become that guy, haven't I? I know that my Redeemer lives. What comfort this sweet sentence gives. He lives who once was dead. He lives, my ever living head. Triumphant from the grave, he lives eternally to save. He lives my mansion to prepare. He lives to lead me safely there. and grants me daily breath. He lives and I shall conquer death. He lives and while he lives I will sing. He lives, my prophet, priest and king. All glory to his name. He lives, my Jesus, still the same. And oh, the sweet joy this sentence gives. I know that my I know that my Redeemer lives. All right. Now, there are some that think I wrote that song. I should set you straight. I did not. I first heard the song many, many years ago in a Easter sunrise service. And I fell in love with it, went to the hymnal, found the Lutheran version of the hymn to the tune of Duke Street, and sort of cut and pasted the lyrics together and then came up with my guitar arrangement. So I'm happy to say that for those who didn't have a hymn background, sometimes my little version is the entry into that song. And I have a couple questions, if you don't mind me asking. I'm wondering whether on nights that, weekends where I'm kind of not doing too much and, instead of maybe me sitting in front of the TV or doing something not productive, I wonder whether you would be interested in me sort of tuning in for maybe a shorter period of time, but doing it once a week, maybe a half hour at a time or 40 minutes at a time or something, whether or not that might be something you would do. Might be a floating thing. I might pick out a weekend night when I'm not singing. So maybe even if I'm singing on a Saturday night, I might do it on a Friday night or something. But the idea is that I would basically do what I'm doing right now, perhaps not as long, and just do it once a week or as often as I can to stay in touch with people. I still, my bread and butter, literally as a working man, but also just in what I love to do is to get out and play for people live. It's very important to have you in the room as much as possible. That's when I have the most fun. I can hear me sing anytime, but what makes it fun and exciting is when you're in the room interacting with these songs and bringing everything that you are to the listening. That's the sacred bargain that I get a chance to participate in here. So I'm thinking about doing that. Also wondering whether it might be a good idea for me to occasionally switch over a concert window or one of the other platforms to give people who are not Facebook people perhaps a wider audience. And on that front, this little program that I'm using to be on tonight is not directly through the Facebook API, but it allows me to upload to YouTube. So I'm going to throw this concert on YouTube, and we'll post the link to that when it becomes available. So if you have folks who might want to see it, or if there's something that I've done that you're like, tune in at 45 seconds in when he can't remember the words to this, you might have a highlight or something that you want to do. So I think I'm going to play another new song if you don't mind. I had a guy who says, I listen to you every day. That's actually something that my wife might say, but perhaps not with as much joy. Thank you. Oh my. I cracked myself up. Okay, this is a song that it took me many years to write. I had the idea probably started back in 98, 99. And I knew that I wanted to write the song. I just didn't know how to do it. Almost everybody, if I describe this situation, that when you're a little boy or a little girl, usually the opposite sex, at first there's kind of a wary, circumspect, if not sort of quasi-enemy type relationship that develops. Like, boys are like, little girls, I just want to pull their hair, and they whine and they're creepy, and little girls are like, boys, they're gross and they make horrible noises and I hate them and I don't, And then what happens is, for almost everyone, one person comes along and the balance begins to tip a little bit. And you have feelings. You have no way to describe these feelings in any way, shape, or form. But you begin to feel things that perhaps the grown-ups are talking about a little bit. And this must be what it is. And you think, oh, a girl. Oh, my. Very, very interesting. And your heart kind of beats a little fast. And, well, I actually have that person in mind. It's usually not the person you marry, and that did not work out that way for me. But she's a wonderful, wonderful woman. Was married for many years, has children of her own. Just a wonderful person. And but back then she was the person that sort of ushered me into this. And I wanted to write a song about that. And the song is called "The Whole Life of My Heart." That is a reference to the fact that at the early stage that this happens to us, our heart is very much uncharted and pristine territory. Most of the damage that we're going to do, or that is going to be done to us, it hasn't happened yet, or happened as much yet as it does at this time. And so this is called "The Whole Life of My Heart." She is out there in the world somewhere, still alive and well. She's happy from a distance now, as far as I can tell. Nobody ever taught me, my parents or my teachers, how to behave or what to say to these alien creatures. At the start of one summer, it was all pigtails and cooties. But when the fall was new, they turned into a classroom full of beauties. Chased across the schoolyard, laughing as they scattered. I lost my mind when I came to find that only one girl mattered. Back before the heartaches and the sorrows, and all my mistakes spilled into my tomorrows. Oh, I know I can never go back to where I used to be, when the whole life of my heart was in front of me. A heart-shaped box of candy, Mom drove me to the store, bought with my allowance to deliver to her door. Her mother smiled and took it, come in a while and stay. With nothing said, I shook my head and turned to run away. Back before the heartaches and the sorrows, and all my mistakes spilled into my tomorrows. Oh, I know I can never go back to who I used to be, when the whole life of my heart was in front of me. Hidden under my pillow, a transistor radio, teaching me a language I did not know. Songs painting pictures I thought only I could see, when the whole life of my heart was in front of me. The woman who sleeps next to me, she's vowed to be my wife, and she says she'll stay every night and day for the rest of my natural life. But she only knows this wounded soul. If only she could see that kid with my name when we were one and the same, and the whole life of my heart was in front of me. The whole life of my heart was still in front of me. The whole life of my heart. And there you have it, the whole life of my heart. Really proud of that one. Hopefully proud in a good way. I've had plenty of experience of being proud in a wrong way. Oh, somebody asked about the killer bees. You know, I hope that we'll get a chance to go out again. We talk about it all the time. The logistics of the thing are kind of difficult because we're talking about 3 guys and from disparate places and 3 airfares and stuff like that. But if we could work it out, I would do anything. It's likely that it would either be comprised of myself, Bruce Carroll, and Scott Wesley Brown, or if he's willing and available and would want to, it might be 4 killer bees. Billy Sprague was one of the original killer bees as well, and he's the one we did the album with way back in 2002. But I'm hoping we can get out there and go on tour sometimes. Every once in a while, as both Bruce and Scott live here in Southern California, we'll show up here and do some things here locally because it doesn't involve all the overhead of getting out there on the road and all stuff. But I would surely love to do it. I've done many in the rounds before with Steve Bell, Carolyn Aarons, Ashley Cleveland, other people. It's so much fun because if you've got a 3-person in the round, as you're sitting up there on stage, you are audience for 2/3 of the time. You're playing a song and then you're listening to 2 songs, playing a song, listening to 2 songs. It's really fun. And anyway, let's see here. I'm looking at... Okay, let me look at a couple things here that are going on. Oh, my nephew Stefan is here. Hi, thanks. Uncle Bob loves you. Steve Suford, hi, buddy. All right, we have some names coming up here. Hi, Ron Harrington, how you doing? Well, that's a great quote. Tom Laredo just weighed in with a C.S. Lewis quote. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. Boy, I could use some more practice at that. I gotta be telling you. Oh, wow. And Alan Roweth mentioned that Billy Crockett is out there gigging again. Billy Crockett, what a great guy. A dear friend, force of nature, wonderful producer, guitarist, vocalist, songwriter. Back in the day, he co-wrote with Kenny Wood and with Milton Brasher Cunningham. These days, I know he's writing a ton of songs on his own and just doing stellar work. And, oh my goodness, Derry Doherty is here. Derry Doherty, along with Steve Hindalong, the brain trust behind the choir. And they were so nice to me so early on, these guys. Let me sing on those records and sing, oh gosh, I'm spacing on the name now. Sing, I'll think of it in a minute. A Beautiful Scandalous Night. Wow, I'm having a senior moment here. Free Bird. Thanks. All right, then just get your lighter and do this, and then perhaps I will consider doing Free Bird. You know what? Somebody asked for the garden song. I'm going to do that. Somebody asked me if I have ever played with Billy Crockett. Now at Blue Rock, they are actually posting concerts live, archives of different concerts. But back in 2014, when I did a Christmas show with Billy and with Dirgy Childs and on cello, and with Billy and also with Grace Pettis, there's a clip on YouTube of me playing I Saw Three Ships with them. But that's the last time I had a guitar in my hand on stage at Blue Rock. Oh, I'm being asked to do Beautiful Scandalous Night. You know, I'd have to see. I'd have to make myself. I'd have to be in a very safe zone where where if I make any mistakes in front of the songwriter, because I haven't played it. I haven't played it for a little bit. Anyway, let me play Garden Song. Let me think about playing Beautiful Scandalous Night while I'm singing Garden Song. I hear footsteps in the garden, and I know the Lord is near, and He calls me by my name, saying, "Where are you hiding? Where are you hiding? Why do you hide from me, my child?" And I answered more loudly than I might have done, "I feel naked and ashamed. Sinned against you, Father, and have no one but myself to blame." And He said, "You are not naked, you are clothed in the grace of my Son. Come and let me lead you to where your journey will be done. Where are you hiding? Where are you hiding? Why do you hide from me, my child? Why are you hiding? Why are you hiding? Why do you hide from me when I love you so? There's the Garden Song. Let me do a little computer magic here. Hold on just a second. If I look like I'm distracted for just a second, it's because I'm trying to see if I can call this up. Okay, I'm going to give this a try. I need full forgiveness from the songwriter if I blow this. Go on up to the mountain of mercy, to the crimson perpetual tide. Kneel down on the shore be thirsty no more. Go under and be purified. Follow Christ to the holy mountain. Sinners sorry and wrecked by the fall. Cleanse your heart and your soul in the fountain that flowed for you and for me and for all. At the wonderful, tragic, mysterious tree, on that beautiful, scandalous night, you and me were atoned by his blood and forever washed white. On that beautiful, scandalous night, on that beautiful, scandalous night. On the hillside you were delivered, at the foot of the cross justified, and your spirit restored by the river that poured from our blessed Savior's side. At the wonderful, tragic, mysterious tree, on that beautiful, scandalous night, you and me were forever atoned by his blood and forever washed white. On that beautiful, scandalous night, that beautiful, scandalous night, oh, that beautiful, scandalous night. Okay, it was perhaps a B minus, because I muffed a couple words and all that. I printed it out in really super small font and tried to sight read that bad boy. Anyway, I'm so proud to be a part of that song all those years ago, and it's such a great song. And I routinely, whenever I'm playing a Good Friday service, it's, unless they tell me I can't do it, it's on the set list. Mecca Lastica. Hi. How you doing, sweetie? Good to see you here. Okay, slightly down on my right hand. Oh, you know, down on the right. Okay, I can. Somebody asked if I'd adjust it down right. I think, are you just trying to get on the right hand? But it cuts my head off a little bit. But you know, given the fact that I don't have as much hair as I used to, that's not a bad thing. Let me see. Or I could back up slightly, and that would give you a little bit better. Okay, hopefully that's... And I know it may be a little bit... Is it out of the frame? Yeah, it's out of the frame. I just want to let you know that I play guitars by Ryan Guitars. That's RyanGuitarsPlural.com. Available in fine custom guitar shops nationwide. There's only a few of them, but you can go there and they are there, right, ready, and waiting for you. So, Kevin Ryan Guitars. Incredible instruments that I am fortunate to be able to play. 1 second here while I wet my whistle. All right. Oh man, I haven't played that song for so long I don't even know if I can do it. Let's see. I'll try it. I'll give it a try. Let me see. I'm gonna just to give myself a little edge. I'm gonna throw up the lyric here to my right here, just in case. All right. Let me make the font just a little bit bigger. All right. This is a song that was on 1982's Matters of the Heart album, and the song was fictional, but if you write a song that's a song of fiction, if it gets at a truth, then I'm not suggesting we'd be dishonest or rewrite history or misrepresent those sorts of things. You need to have a big disclaimer if you're going to monkey with like facts and things like that, right? Okay. But when you're writing songs, the sky's the limit. You can make things up. You can make characters up. And in this case, I did make these characters up. But I was trying to get at something that I think is very much part of the human condition. And this is there's no great genius in what I'm about to tell you. This is such a Captain Obvious statement because it's so common to human experience. But it is absolutely common to be surrounded by people and yet feel very much isolated. In fact, sometimes we can feel more isolated in the presence of others than we actually do when we're physically alone. And it's almost like the wound, almost like you're picking at the wound a little bit under those situations. And I'm one of those people. I have a tough time being alone and really, really liking it. And for a Christian, that's not good news because solitude is very much supposed to be a part of our lives. We're never really alone, of course, but you know what I mean. Solitude as in just one human in the room and that's it. And so I am envious of people who have developed the discipline of good alone time, and they're their own best company sometimes in situations. I think that's great. But I also have great sympathy and empathy with people who feel alienated for whatever the reason may be in small or large groups of other people. The way that people sometimes feel when they gather together on major holidays and they get together with family, and it can be as difficult as it can be wonderful sometimes. So anyway, so this was what was on my mind when I wrote this song. Brian's on the football team, but he's only second string. He's got a locker full of books, but he doesn't know a thing. He never says what's on his mind, like his daddy to the bone. And he's living with the rest of us, together all alone, together all alone. His girlfriend moved away last year to another school in town. She's got a brand new boyfriend, but she sometimes comes around. She bounces his heart like a basketball, and when his folks are not at home, she slaps his hand as they lay on the couch, together all alone, together all alone. And far away, a shepherd tends his sheep. Days full of grazing, nights full of sleep. While Brian is in school all day, the old man drives a truck. He says it's a hell of a way to live, but it's a way to make a buck. He rolls home after the house is dark, his heart as cold as a stone, and he lies back to back with his wife in the sack, together all alone, together all alone. Then far away, a shepherd tends his sheep. All right, Together All Alone from 1982's Matters of the Heart. I want to just briefly tell you some housekeeping since I don't have a manager to tell me to do this. You can find me, of course, on bobbennettmusic.com. Or, no, I'm sorry. You can find me on bobbennett.com. No hyphen. There used to be a hyphen there, but the doctor told me that I could have my hyphen safely removed and still live a normal life. So I'm now at bobbennett.com. That's where I live online. And you can find me there. I'm on Twitter. I don't tweet super often, but I'm there at Bob Bennett Tweet. I'm on Instagram at Bob Bennett Music. And I'm not quite as good at playing social media sometimes as I wish I was, but I'm there and doing my very best. And also, I should let you know, these things just happen. My schedule is not as jam-packed this summer as I really would like it to be. And so if you would like more information on how to book me for a concert, you can email me directly at bob@bobbennett.com. There is a contact form on the website. There is a booking form if you have an idea of something you might actually want to do. But there is no agent. There is no pushy salesman. Nothing like that. If you get in touch with me, you get me. And we can talk about it. I do all kinds of things. In addition to churches, services, and concerts, I do house concerts, retreats, songwriting seminars. I've sung at weddings. I've done all kinds of stuff, and I'm open to anything where the music still survives. If I'm in the middle of a carnival or something, or we might have to talk a little bit about that, or the dreaded food gig. Not that food is present, but there's a whole hotel conference room full of people digging into chicken, and I'm up there trying to sing my little songs and getting completely ignored. That's not my favorite outcome. But I'll do all kinds of stuff. Coffee houses. The other thing that I do, which I would like to talk to you about, if you don't mind for a moment, is I also have a thing that I do called house call concerts. And this is a wonderful but sometimes a little bit of a tricky operation to get the logistics to work. But to make a long story completely short, you can find out more about this if you email me. If I find out that someone is really, really sick, or either with a temporary injury or they're chronically sick and they can't leave the house, my first instinct is if I can get anywhere near where they are, I want to go sing with them and for them. And so I call these house call concerts because I'm kind of making a musical house call at that moment. And the idea is not that I wouldn't go sing for anybody. That's not the idea at all. But ideally, it would be a person with whom I have a history, people who maybe know some of these songs. So if your old humble acoustic servant knocks on the door and says, "Hi, it's me, Bob Bennett, can I sing for you?" It would be meaningful for them to hear these songs with me in the room. But the other thing is that I also, just last week, I had a youth group that was having a reunion while I was playing a gig out here in Southern California. So I recorded a private half-hour set for them and posted it to YouTube. And somebody emailed me some specific information, and I had some fun doing some call-outs to some of the people in the room and customizing. And she asked for a particular set list, and I did that. And I completely customized a little mini concert for her to show to her friends and past church mates in the youth group. So I can do that. I can also do live streaming stuff on FaceTime and all that. So I'm looking for ways to try to hyphenate what I do. And so that's what this is about. I love this job, and it's not that I won't do anything else, but as long as I can have a guitar in my hand and still be a working man, that's my preference. And so that's the deal. All right. I'd like to do a song now in tribute to a man who's been gone an awful long time now. A songwriter that many of us still check in with and love his songs, learn from his songs, take comfort and solace and inspiration and understanding from his songs. And I'm talking about the late, great Mark Hurd. Mark passed away, I think it was 1992, if I'm remembering correctly, either 92 or 94. Forgive me for not remembering exactly, but it was way, way too early in the game. And no less a songwriting phenom, an incredible artist named Pierce Pettis, who's one of my favorite humans, starts every album with a Mark Hurd song. That is, ever since Mark passed away, that was Pierce's commitment that he would keep this music alive. And every Pierce Pettis album starts with a great rendition of a Mark Hurd song. So I'm going to play this song. It's one of my favorites. Sam Phillips, back when she was still Leslie, did an incredible cover of this song. And many people, I think, have done it. But I finally got around to it, as well I should have, in 2002 on the album The View From Here. It's called Heart of Hearts. Tears in the city, nobody's really surprised. You know, my heart's taking a beating, existence is bleeding me dry. You know, but way down in my heart of hearts, way down in my soul of souls, way down, I know that I am a fortunate man to have known divine love. I'm forgetting the second verse now. I hate that. Oh man, somebody help me out here. What's the second verse? I know what it is. I'm already aching. The tears have been taking a little. Oh, so there's a line that precedes that. I got to figure out what it is. Oh man. Oh gosh. I'm sorry. Oh, there. No, that's the third verse. Okay. There we go. Thank you, Martin. The world is in shambles. I'm just a young man, but it's getting a little bit old to me. I'm already aching. The tears have been taking a little bit of a toll on me. But way down in my heart of hearts, way down in my soul of souls, way down, I know that I am a fortunate man to have known divine love, to have known divine love. Siren is warning that everything is not quite all right. Oh gosh, I got waylaid by the comments again. 2 in the morning, the siren is warning that everything is not quite all right. Oh, I feel terrible that I did this. Down on my knees in the night tonight. Sorry, you guys. I know the city is sleeping. Tonight. And I'm down on my knees in the night tonight. But way down in my heart of hearts, way down. Oh, and I'm laughing during this horror. Oh man, I have really messed this up. Please forgive me, everybody. I don't mean to do that. Way down. I'm laughing at my folly, but I'm not laughing at the song. Way down in my heart of hearts, way down in my soul of souls, way down. I know that I am a fortunate man to have known divine love. Way down in my heart of hearts, way down in my soul of souls, way down. I know that I am a fortunate man to have known have known, to have known divine love. Oh, doggone it. What happens is I kept glancing over at the comments, and as soon as my eye would hit something, I would completely space out. So that's the yin and yang of this. It's fun to do, and I love checking in with everybody, but I have to admit I'm actually a tick distracted, and so I apologize to all you Mark Hurd fans out there for completely slaughtering that particular rendition. You can go to YouTube or Spotify and you can hear the recorded version. And I think I've got some other versions out there that do that song justice in a way that this one did not. Oh, somebody said it happens to Jackson Browne all the time. Yeah, I know, man. You know, there are only about 3 or 4 guys that I really, if I met them, I would just bust out crying. Jackson Browne is probably one of them. I've learned so much from that guy, and you know, there's so many of us of this particular vintage. I remember at one time it was kind of a little too mannered a statement, but somebody said one time that his songs were kind of like the tear ducts of a generation. And I do think, I mean, if you go back and listen to those songs, he was taking us all to songwriting school. And I think if I ever got a chance to meet him, it was like when I met Richie Furay and Barry McGuire and a couple other people. I asked them, I said, can I just have 10 minutes of fanboy time, and then I promise I'll act like a normal human being. And I think if I met Jackson Browne, it would probably happen there. Also, even though I've had a couple hi, how are you meetings with Bruce Cockburn, and I got a chance to tell him how much he has meant to me over a lifetime. I think if I got to sit in the room with Bruce Cockburn and trade songs and goof off and have a cup of coffee and stuff, I might just descend into a puddle of emotion. So I'd like to think it's not old man spaciness here, but who knows? I think some of it may be a little distraction. I'd like to, I've gotten a lot of requests from Man of the Tombs, so I'm going to do that. And people have asked me many times over the years, do you have a favorite song? And I think if I don't have a favorite song, but if you ask me, and you may have heard me say this before, if you ask me what song do you hope outlives you and gets heard by the most amount of people, this song is probably it. I don't think I would, you know, I don't want to over dramatize and say, you know, I was born to write this and no one else could do it. And I think that's nonsense. You know, I think that's complete nonsense. But I think I have my part to play in telling this story. And so this is a song called Man of the Tombs. Lives in a place where no one goes, and he tears at himself and lives with a pain that no one knows. He counts himself dead among the living. He knows no mercy and no forgiving. Deep in the night, he's driven to cry out loud. Can you hear him cry out loud? Man of the tombs, possessed by an unseen enemy, he breaks every chain. mistakes his freedom for being free. Shame and shamelessness equally there, like a random toss of a coin in the air. Man of the tombs, he's driven to cry out loud underneath this thing that I've become, a fading memory of flesh and blood. I curse the womb, I bless the grave. I've lost my heart, I cannot be saved. Like those who fear me, I'm afraid. Like those I've hurt, I can feel pain. Naked now before my sin, and these stones that cut against my skin. Some try to touch me, but no one can. For man of the tombs I am. Down at the shoreline, two sets of footprints meet. One voice is screaming, other voice begins to speak. In only a moment and only a word, the evil departs like a thundering herd. Man of the tombs, he hears this cry out loud underneath this thing that you become. I see a man of flesh and blood. I give you life beyond the grave. I heal your heart, I come to save. No need to fear, be not afraid. This man of sorrows knows your pain. I come to take away your sin and bear its marks upon my skin. When no one can touch you, still I can. For Son of God I am. Dressed now and seated, clean in spirit and healthy of mind, man of the tombs, he begs to follow but must stay behind. He'll return to his family with stories to tell of mercy and madness, heaven and hell. Man of the tombs, soon he will cry out loud underneath this thing that I once was. Now I'm a man of flesh and blood. I have a life beyond the grave. I found my heart, I can now be saved. No need to fear, I am not afraid. This man of sorrows took my pain. He comes to take away our sin and bear its marks upon his skin. I'm telling you this story because man of the tombs I was. Man of the tombs I was. Man of the Tombs, done in my favorite way, without a musical train wreck, without incident. Very happy when that happens. Couple things. I have to not be distracted by the comments, and sometimes when I sing Man of the Tombs, I have to, and you, those of you who are musicians or speak in public or do things, sometimes you have to cultivate a thin bit of distance between what you're doing and the fact that you're doing it so you can get the job done. Sometimes if I think too much about the song and why I wrote it and what it means to me and how much of a head case I am a good portion of my life, and how much I still feel stuck sometimes between verses 2 and 3 of that song. If I think about that too much, I'm not going to be able to sing it. But sometimes I kind of, even as I'm singing, I keep concentrate, just sing. You can fall apart later. So that's Man of the Tombs. I've actually had pastors that have sent me sermons that have either quoted the lyric or they've played the song as part of a service and then preached from the particular passages. If I'm remembering correctly, there are 2 versions of the story where there's one demoniac, one version where there's 2, and so I of course chose to go with the one, and as they say in biblical reconciliation, that is not that's not a problem, because there was perhaps as many as 2 and at least 1. And so sometimes in telling these different emphases on different stories and so forth. But anyway, okay. We're getting a goodbye from somebody else to preach tomorrow. Those of you who are in the pulpit tomorrow morning, God bless you and Godspeed. I appreciate so much the work that pastors do. It is, I come in and people are happy to see me, at least most of the time. And all I have to do is not really mess up badly for an hour at a time. And then I can get in the car on the airplane and go home and everybody's happy. I'm always completely supportive and respectful of pastors who are faithful to a faith community in one place. Sometimes they hear the loud news a little more than they hear the compliments and the people who are satisfied, all of the things that they have to juggle. So if you are a pastor or work at a church, you know what I'm talking about. And if I wore a hat, I would tip it to you this night in my total appreciation for that. All right. Okay. Good night, Kelly Willard. Thanks for checking in, sweetie. So glad you could stick around. I think I'll play just maybe one more song. I've been at this for an hour and a half. And so I'm going to play one more song, and then I will maybe take a few more questions, and then I will say goodnight. Someone wants to know when I'm headed back to Houston. I go to San Antonio every year the weekend before Thanksgiving. And this last year I played a house concert in Houston. So perhaps there's a chance that I can maybe do a couple of Houstonian things before I get to San Antonio this year. So, in closing, before I play this song, I may have a little bit more to say afterwards, but in case you're going to tune out of any talking that comes later, I'll play one more song. Thank you so much for those of you who have hung in there and watched this imperfect set of music. You can tell it's Facebook Live because, doggone it, it's got all the earmarks of a live thing. There are forgotten lyrics, technical glitches, spacey moments, sentences that I might have said that I might go back and wince at later. Gosh, who knows what's going to happen? But that's a live performance for you. And especially thank you to those of you who have checked in with the digital tip jar. I really, really appreciate that. It's so difficult, especially when you're doing this thing as I do, in a deliberately, I hope it's not like a super heavy-handed, exclusionary kind of way. But I do this from a Christian perspective, and anytime you do that, there's been so much bad and terrible things that have gone on in relationship to religion and money that it makes it hard for those of us who try to do it correctly. And so as it turns out, my calling and my ministry and my work and all of those things are all together in the same basket with this is my job. And so that's why the little digital tip jar is up tonight. And I hope that that is not offensive to some of my brethren that are tuning in. I hope that you'll pardon me if it is. But that was the reason that's up. And thank you for those of you who have checked in. Also, greetings to those of you who may check into this little thing later on. Thank you for clicking on over and watching as much of this as was of interest to you. As I say, I may try doing this every week or so, a little bit shorter time, maybe not an hour and a half at each crack, but checking in and maybe playing some new songs. That might be real good motivation for me to kick myself a little bit more in the hindquarters to get more songs written for a new album. But so check back here on Facebook, and also if you go to bobbennett.com, that's Bob. BOBBENNETT.com. You can sign up for my email list, and I will send out announcements for all this sort of stuff as well, a little more in advance than I did for this thing, and I'll get the date right too. I sent out the wrong date to my entire mailing list. Very smart, huh? So this is a song of gratitude, and tonight, despite all of the things that are nipping at my heels, just like everyone else, for goodness sakes, I'm a grateful man. And thank you for listening to these songs. I build an altar in the field, so I'll remember back to this time when it's so real that I am loved and not alone. And if I pass by here again, I'll be able to see my life was scattered like these stones till the Lord began to gather me. I built an altar in the field, so I'll remember. I build an altar in this field in honor, in memory of the many graces I've been shown and the ones I've yet to see. And so I leave this symbol fashioned by my hand, the marker of a love that I will never understand. I leave an altar in the field. When I'm lost inside my sorrow, overtaken by my fear, when I am wandering in this wilderness, perhaps the Lord will lead me here to this altar in the field where I'll remember. Oh, I will remember. All right. Thank you so very much, folks. I really, really appreciate you checking in here tonight on Facebook Live. If there are any technical difficulties, and of course there were some lyrical difficulties and all that along the way, but I do thank you so very much for checking in. As I said before, I can sing for myself anytime. It's not that big a deal to me. What makes it fun is that if I know there are people that are out there that are listening to these songs, taking them in, making of them what they will. You guys are the arbiters of whether these songs mean a doggone thing. And so I appreciate that so much. And Anyway, for those of you that I weren't able to get to your request tonight, I will go through these comments and make a list of the things that I didn't get to and try to concentrate on some of those the next time out. So thank you all. God bless you. And as I put on the liner notes to all of my albums, quoting from the song Healings, so I end this little Facebook Live time with you by saying thank you and praises be to the healer of my life. Good night.